Swamin namaste natalokabandho karunya sindho patitam bhavabdhau mamuddharatmiya kataksha drishtya rijvyati karunya sudhabhivrishtya Swamin namaste Swamin namaste Swamin namaste Swamin namaste Satchidanandarupaya Vyapine Paramatmane Namah Shri Gurunathaya Prakashanandamurtaye Satyanandaswarupaya Bodhaika Sukhakarine Namo Vedanta Vedyaya Gurave Buddhisakshine Hridistham Param Nityamekaswarupam Dayapurnamananda Bodha Prakasham Anekakritim Paramadyantahinam Bhajeham Sada Jnanamurtim Gurum Tam Bhajeham Sada Jnanamurtim Gurum Tam. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru. What Meru said is very true. I am coming live in front of you after 3 months. And as she has just mentioned, although we have been traveling and there was a lot of hectic activities, I thought that I will record this Prabhata Rashmih specially so that when I'm not able to come live, this can be premiered. And when I started these Prabhata Rashmih recordings, I was recording them in the evenings. Every day evening, at about 5 o'clock, I would be recording them. And I got a lot of joy in recording them. While you all may be seeing me every week in front of you in the screen, I have been also seeing all of you virtually while I was recording. But still, today I was feeling very strange that I'm feeling as if all of you are not virtually listening to me, you are in front of me. And there are actually in the ashram also quite a few devotees. So in front of me, there are many devotees here. And you too are there, whoever is listening, in front of me. In between, I have not been keeping good health also. So my voice got bad, I had voice rest, and I am surprised that I could chant these slokas. So I don't know whether I'll be coughing while talking. So the 14 episodes of Prabhata Rashmih, it ended with the completion of this chapter. I think it is chapter 12, Self-Realization and All-Time Sadhana, where Swamiji at the end says that fill every moment of your life with divinity. Let divine thoughts radiate from your being. Become a ball of divinity, a flame of divinity. Be a spiritual being, a spiritual person. Let spirituality be felt by you. To feel so is your task, endeavor, and challenge. He also saith that the sadhana should be an all-time sadhana. That is, what is then ultimately the spiritual goal of a seeker? In this very chapter, Swamiji is asking. As you know, the Prabhata Rashmis are towards the seekers who are really sitting at his feet and listen to him. In the morning, when Swamiji talks with his eyes closed after the Pushpa Samarpanam is over, he is asking all the seekers, what is then ultimately the spiritual goal of a seeker? Is it to remain absorbed in meditation throughout? He is asking. And he is saying, not at all. Then what it is? He is saying further, it is to acquire that illumination or wisdom by virtue of which the seeker will be able to remain constantly in communion with the self. In communion with the self. Through all activities, whatever one does, in interactions, in activities, in everything, one must not lose the knowledge that I am the self, I am not the body. This is what is the all-fold sadhana. And Swamiji has explained in these few chapters which I have taken. That is what he has been telling, that constantly feel the self everywhere, not only in meditation and absorption, in day-to-day work, whether the work is very trivial, very important, very engrossing, very involving, liked by you, disliked by you, difficult or easy, whatever you do, in your thoughts, in your speech, everywhere around, feel the self. And do not make any difference between self and non-self. What happens with the seekers is that, Swamiji is saying, in one of the chapters he has said, that the problem is that the devotees and seekers, they keep God at a distance. And they feel that when they are in the pursuit of spiritual practices or devotional practices, then only they are thinking of God, or then they are near to God. And rest of the time, whatever they call as their worldly life, they keep God away. And as you have been listening and as we read, we find that Swamiji is constantly stressing upon this fact that it is not so. You have to experience the divinity and the godliness, the presence of the supreme power in everything that you do. Though there is plurality everywhere, one must feel the oneness underlying that plurality. He says that the plurality is not destroyed altogether, but it gets soaked in the oneness of the self. Yes, it is true that we are in this plural world. We are seeing many things, objects, human beings, the nature, other animals, so many things, gadgets we are using. So, how to feel the presence of that Supreme in all of them? In reality, we feel that all things are different. So, this is what Swamiji is emphasizing. He has emphasized in all these chapters, and he otherwise also goes on emphasizing the fact that the self is everywhere. Everything is the expression of the self. All our emotions, all our sentiments, all our thoughts, all our ideas, all our viewpoints, and apart from that, all that we do, including our body, our senses, our limbs, our mind and intelligence and ego, everything is an expression, an extension of the self. So in this line, which I like very much, it is written in bold here, the plurality is not destroyed altogether, but it gets soaked in the oneness of the self. My dear children, we may read it, and I'm trying to explain it a little further. What more explanation I can give? The words told by Swamiji is so rich, so profound, that it is just a little bit of my effort to explain to you. What is he saying? That we should not fall from this fact that I am the self. God is within me in the form of the Atma. There is no difference between God and Atma. And whatever we do, that godliness is there, that divinity is there. So, the last chapter that we took, he said, ultimately he says, drop all desires, understand that the world is fleeting, become sublime and radiate sublimity. What is sublimity? Sublimity is, you can say, purity. Get away from the constrictions of your mind. Dissolve the ego and undue preferences and prejudices. My dear children, we read, we listen, but why are we not able to remain in that knowledge? Why is it that we get distracted? It is because we don't make effort to want it wholesomely. We don't make an effort to become pure in the mind wholesomely. We'll give some time to it, and rest of the time or most of the time we will be doing exactly opposite to what is purity. So, Swamiji is telling, actually these are very direct instructions for any serious seeker and devotee. Drop all desires. Understand that the world is fleeting. Become sublime and radiate sublimity. Get away from the constrictions of your mind. Dissolve the ego and undue preferences and prejudices. Because of our undue preferences and prejudices, we are distracted. We are not able to wholesomely yearn for this state. We want it, we are interested in it, we love it, we consider it to be very great, but we get distracted. So, all these talks, if you read very, very carefully, and we actually did not go forward very fast. Whatever touches you as a knowledge, simply think over it. Oh, how far I am from this knowledge. Why is it that I am not able to assimilate this knowledge, what I have heard? Why is it that still I flicker? Why is it that still I am restless? These thoughts, these vicharas should be there. So I'll go ahead. Today I will start the next one. Prabhata Rashmih, Volume 1, Chapter 13. It says, the heading given is Detachment, the only way to live well. In these few months, 3 months have passed. And actually when I'm talking to you, especially when Miru said 3 months, I'm feeling that these 3 months has been a very, very hectic period. We went to Jamshedpur, we met many people, many devotees and seekers who came to talk, who poured out their heart, their problems. And after that, there was the Satram. There are also many people we met. And in between, till now, there have been many visitors to the ashram, visiting devotees. So many have come and gone. And when they come, we try to be talking to them. If anybody wants to talk to us, sit with us, ask questions, or some just want to sit. Maybe they feel happy just by sitting by the side. So, why I'm saying this? So in these 3 months, I don't know how many people, at least I have met. And in everybody, in most of them, I find there is yearning and interest for this path. They're listening to the talks. They read the scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, some read the Bhagavatam, and some are very much given to vichara also. Disciplined they are, but still, many of them, they have expressed that still they are not fulfilled. They don't know what to do next. They're doing everything, but still, what is to be done next? So I would be listening, and I think one day when somebody was telling me this, I just said, you know what you need? You need Vairagya. You may be doing everything, but if your mind is not getting this indifference to worldly things, then you will be stagnated. Progress will be very slow. That is, you are taking to spirituality as an occupation. Just like you do something else, you have taken up spirituality also, part of your routine. That should not be. Spirituality should bring about in you Vairagya. Now, what is Vairagya? It doesn't mean that you have to leave and go away from your house. It doesn't mean that you have to take up sannyasa or brahmacharya. The indifference is you should not have attachment in whatever you are doing. You should not feel obsessive or possessive about anything in your life. You should be free. You should do your duties. You should take up the responsibilities. You should work well to perfection, but you must have that samatva to assimilate what I have planned may not be successful, may be successful to a certain extent. What I want, I may not get always. So be indifferent. That is towards the work. What about the family people? Know that the world is fleeting. So why get attached? Why get obsessed? Why become possessive? So this particular chapter, let us see what Swamiji has written. The topic has been given as Detachment, the only way to live well. Now when we talk of Vairagya, many people get very afraid. Oh, we have to leave. Leave what? Leave your comforts, leave your habits, leave your nature maybe, leave your way of doing many things, and turn towards being sattvic. So you have to leave many rajasic and tamasic qualities. So they become afraid that, oh, suppose Swamiji asked me to do this, what will I do? So here it is very interesting. The introduction to this particular talk has been given as 25th July 1997. So, all the other Prabhata Rashmis which I took up, they were in the setting of Guru Purnima and retreat. This one also is during the retreat. 25th July 1997. Retreat is going on. The 5th day of the retreat. Listening to Swamiji morning and evening for the past 4 days, a few seekers expressed a doubt before Swamiji after the night Satsang yesterday. They said, Swamiji, we have been listening to you for so many years. You have always inspired us to live a better life in the world. Your words and messages have always given us strength to steer through many difficult situations in the family as well as in the professional field. That is what Swamiji does. Always inspires and gives everybody strength to face any situation in the family life as well as in the professional life. So these devotees are saying, but now we feel that you are mostly talking about Vairagya and leaving the worldly life. That way, the talks perhaps become a little alienated from the needs of ordinary people like us who are not yet prepared to renounce. So in whichever manner they have understood Swamiji's talks, they have felt that Swamiji is talking too much of Vairagya and asking us to leave the world and renounce. So they are requesting Swamiji, Swamiji, we would like to hear from you the truth about this change of emphasis. They are saying that earlier your emphasis was that we should be able to face everything in life and in professional life. Now you are talking of Vairagya, as if you are wanting us to renounce and go away. Now we are very ordinary people. We feel that we are not ripe for that. So we want to know why you are emphasizing like this. Truth about the change of emphasis, we want to hear about that. You must tell us openly, without any sugar coating, what we are supposed to do. So you tell us very freely what we, as householders, mostly they are householders, that what are we supposed to do. From your talk, it is looking as if you are talking mostly about Vairagya and living and renouncing. Now, this is very alien to us. We are not prepared to do so. So, what are you meaning exactly? Swamiji took up the point during today's Prabhata Rashmih. I think, my dear children, Swamiji talks about Vairagya a lot. Because the Shastras are full of Vairagya. Bhakti, Virakti, Bhagavat Prabodha. If you really grow in Bhakti, Virakti has to come. Your growth in Bhakti, that is towards the self or God, will definitely take you away from the worldly and material objects. And when the Virakti also grows, then Bhagavat Prabodha will take place. That is the realization of God. Now, though relentlessly Swamiji is talking about the soul, the self, and how you can go to that state, what are the path, what is the path, and what are the disciplines, what is the sadhana, in which Vairagya comes as a definite factor. In Sadhana Chatushtaya, all of you know, it is Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivekaha, that is discrimination between real and unreal. And Ihamutra Phala Bhoga Viragaha. Next is Vairagya. That is, you have indifference to whatever worldly things you face in the world, in this life, and The Shastras are also saying that you will have, if you do this, you will get this phala, this result in the other life. This iha and amutra, in this life or in the other life, whatever is enjoyable, you have indifference towards everything. You have developed it. That development should come. And then other things are there, Shatka Sampatti and Mumuksha. So, all these things constantly come around. When we talk, these have to be talked. And this Vairagya that is talked, it is not the Vairagya of actually leaving a place and going away, or changing the color of the dress. It is a Vairagya in the mind. Indifference and lack of possessiveness in the mind. Don't hold on to anything. So how has Swamiji replied it? Let us see. Swamiji starts with this sloka from Bhagavad Gita, 11th chapter, 55, sloka number 55. Mat karma krit, mat paramo, mad bhakta sanga varjitaha. Nirvairas sarva bhuteshu yassa mameti pandava. This is the sloka. So, fifth. Mat karma krit mat paramo mad bhakta sanga varjitaha nirvairas sarva bhuteshu yassa mameti pandava. In this, what does he say? One who works for my sake, mat karma krit. That is, considering every work to be given by me and works for my sake. Mat paramaha, considered me, the self, as the supreme. Mad bhaktaha, is devoted to me. Sangavarjitaha, is rid of any delusional clinging. Why? What is delusional clinging? Possessiveness. Clinging to anything. Whether it is clinging to your children, your family, your wealth, your health, your reputation. And why it is delusional? It comes from the delusion, because we are not able to understand that all these are fleeting. It will not remain. What is the use of clinging? So, delusional clinging, sangavarjitaha, nirvairaha sarvabhuteshu, and fosters no animosity towards anybody. He doesn't have any inimical feeling to anybody. He is a friend of all. Yaha, one who works for my sake, considers me, the self, as the supreme, is devoted to me, is rid of any delusional clinging, and fosters no animosity towards anybody, attains me, sa mameti. Saha mam eti. Hey Pandava, O Pandava. He is talking, Shri Krishna is talking to Arjuna. So he is addressing him as Pandava. He has addressed him in many names. So here he says Pandava. That person attains me. Attains me what? Attains the Supreme. That he reaches that supreme aim, goal, supreme state, where he becomes Brahman. He becomes the self. He has no Bheda Darshana. He becomes one. That is his identity. He understands that I am the self, and that self is everywhere. And everything that I interact with is an extension of the self. He remains in that knowledge. So, Swamiji has chanted this sloka. Now, it will be good to see two slokas before it. This is from 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. In 11th chapter, Arjuna wanted to see Vishwarupa. So Krishna showed the Vishwarupa. Arjuna became very afraid, then said, please come back to your original form. And when Krishna did so, Krishna says in the 53rd shloka, Naham vedair na tapasa, na danena na chejyaya, shakya evam vidho drashtum, drishtavanasi mam yatha. He is telling Arjuna that, first he says in the previous shloka, in the 52nd, whatever form of me you saw, the Supreme, Vishwarupa means that, see, we normally, although we are hearing constantly, the self is everywhere. When we are in the wakeful state and in this life, interacting, seeing through our senses, we are seeing and perceiving so many things. This knowledge does not remain with me, that in this whole of the universe, the creation, it is the self or self alone, or God and God alone. Though he himself has taken this form. It is all extension of the self or God. So Krishna is telling that in the 52nd verse, whatever form of me, the Supreme, you saw is extremely rare to see. Even Devas always aspire to see this universal form. So this universal form which Krishna showed Arjuna, it is not easy to see. One must grow to that dimension where one will understand the Vishwarupa. And then Krishna says that I, the Supreme, Naham vedair na tapasa, I, the Supreme, cannot be seen in the manner you have seen. I have shown you my Vishwarupa. Many people are doing many austerities, tapasya, meditation, etc. Those people will not be able to attain me. But I have shown you. I, the Supreme, cannot be seen in the manner you have seen, either by Vedic studies or by austerities, charities or yajna. People may do austerity, people may take to Vedic studies, people may do charity and perform yajnas. They will not be able to see this universal form. But I have shown you that, though Arjuna was afraid to see it. So, Krishna is further telling that people who are doing tapasya, people who are into the spiritual practice, they will not be able to see me through yajna, through tapas, through sacrifices, through Vedic studies. They will not be able to see me. How will then one be able to attain me? Here he says, Bhaktya tvananyaya. This is the 54th verse. Swamiji chanted the 55th verse and just telling you the previous one. Few of them. So this is just the previous one, where Shri Krishna is saying how one can attain the Supreme. Bhaktya tvananyaya shakya aham evam vidho Arjuna jnatum drashtum cha tatvena praveshtum cha parantapa. He says, Arjuna, I told you, by doing yajna, by doing dana, by doing tapas, by doing Vedic studies, one will not be able to attain me, but only by unswerving exclusive devotion, bhaktya tu ananyaya, ananyaya bhaktya. If you have ananya bhakti, then only one can know, visualize. Know means jnatum, drashtum, visualize, tatvena, realize in essence, and finally enter into this universal dimension of mind. He says, if you can grow in Ananya Bhakti. Ananya Bhakti, that is wholesome Bhakti. How this wholesome Bhakti will come? Wholesome Bhakti will come when your Bhakti towards the world, your family and other things will be reducing. You will grow more love for God. And when we love somebody, what happens? We keep on thinking of that person. So throughout a day, whatever you are doing, you will remember that I am from God, I am God's. I have been created by God. That thought you will never be able to forget. Just like you don't forget where is your house, what is your name, what is your profession, how many children you have, however much you are busy, these you never forget. Similarly, here, Ananya Bhakta. So, Ananya Bhakta, one who is an Ananya Bhakta, who has Ananya Bhakti, will be constantly in the remembrance. And that remembrance becomes effortless, becomes his natural, his nature. So, he says that unswerving exclusive devotion, through only that one can know, visualize, realize innocence, and finally enter into this universal dimension. So, what we should do? We should try to get this Ananya Bhakti. Then he says, now Ananya Bhakti. How will we become Ananya Bhakta? First of all, we don't know God. He is invisible. Somebody who is invisible, how to grow love for that God? So, Krishna is giving very particular instruction. What is that? Mat karmakrit, mat paramo, mat bhaktaha, sangavarjitaha, nirvairas sarvabhuteshu, yah samameti pandava. He says, Arjuna, so to grow in this Ananya Bhakti, what you will have to do is, now, you are only not doing puja. That puja is only for half an hour to 45 minutes. Rest of the time you are in the world doing so many things. Become mat karmakrit. Think that you are working for me, for my sake. And consider me to be the supreme, not your family to be the supreme. Become mat bhaktaha. Be devoted to me, not to the family and other things. Sangavarjitaha. And do not have any kind of delusional clinging to anything. Whether it is your ideas or whether it is to persons, places, your property, nothing. And nirvairas sarvabhuteshu. Have no kind of hatred or dislike or feeling of enmity towards anybody. If you can do this, you will easily attain me. So I took you to these verses so that what Swamiji says now becomes easy to understand. So Swamiji says, first he chanted this shloka. My dear children, I would always like you to be in that ambience. Just imagine the scene. Mornings, it's a very devotional atmosphere. Everybody is sitting quietly. Swamiji is talking with his eyes closed, absorbed into himself. His words are coming out for the seekers and devotees who are in front of him for their benefit in sadhana. And he has chanted this. Mat karmakrit, mat paramo, mat bhaktaha, sangavarjitaha. He's chanted initially the first line. Then he says, throughout the Bhagavad Gita gospel, Sri Krishna is only explaining, re-explaining, confirming, reconfirming, strengthening, re-strengthening the central idea that you are the soul and you have no birth or death. You don't have to become the soul. You are the soul. I don't know. What is your response? When we hear this, we get horripilation. Because mostly, however much we read it and hear it, we don't think about it. We are constantly falling from that knowledge. You don't have to become the soul. You are the soul. That is your real nature. You are the self. That is your real nature. You are not this body, which is changeful, perishable, constantly changing. But the self, the soul, is changeless, eternal, and all-pervading. It is not that the soul or the self is different in different bodies. It is the same everywhere. That oneness underlying all the plurality. We constantly fall from that knowledge. When we work, when we are in activity, we fall. We don't remember. So, he's saying that Krishna has been explaining, re-explaining, confirming, reconfirming, strengthening, re-strengthening the central idea that you are the soul, and you have no birth or death. The soul has no birth or death. It is always there. So, no birth, no death. You don't have to become the soul, you are the soul. You will have to only know it. If you are the soul and the soul does not have birth or death, then how can death become a cause of fear for you? So, it becomes a cause of fear because we are not established steadily in that knowledge. We know it as a knowledge. And if there is a lecture, we know that we are the soul. What does it mean? Are we making effort to be immersed in that knowledge? Become that knowledge so that we never forget it? Are we doing such things by which this knowledge that I am the self, I am not the body, are we doing such activities or speech or thoughts by which we don't fall from that knowledge? As this same example I'm giving, as a mother, when she becomes a mother for the first time, initially she will think that, oh, I've become a mother. Doesn't know how to handle the child. Oh, I've become a mother. 2-3 times this thought will come again to her. But after a few days while handling the child, as the child grows and she handles the child, she will become a mother. She will never have to think that she is a mother. And all that a mother should do for the child, she'll be doing. So, when this knowledge gets ingrained in the system, then we will be acting in a manner when we have got assimilated with the fact that I am the soul, I am the self. That is what happens to the realized people, the Jivan Muktas. So you will have to only know it. If you are the soul and soul does not have birth or death, then how can death become a cause of fear for you? So even when you know it, you can have vichara and think that I am the soul. The soul does not have death, so it cannot be a cause of fear for me. if you are not born and you have no death, then what about the life which comes in between birth and death? Now, the soul is without birth, without death. In between is the period where we are active. Our birth, we have no knowledge, no memory. Only when we become 2, 3 years old or 4 years old, I think we can go back and think of those moments. Before that, when we were born, how we were born, at what place we were born, what all happened, we don't know. Similarly, death. Nobody has come back after death saying that, oh, my death was like this. So, birth and death, about that we don't know. And we are the soul. The soul has no birth and death. But we find that we have a life between the two. We say that our body was born and the body died. Between that, there is a life. So, what about that life? If the body has birth and death, but the soul does not have birth and death. This in-between period, which comes between birth and death, what about that? You have to take it with a measure of indifference. So, we did not know about our birth, don't know about our death, what is happening. What are we going to do with this period when we live? Live with indifference. Why? Because we did not know about the birth. We will not even know what has happened after the birth. Or what are the feelings of death? What were the feelings of birth? Those moments, we don't know. But this period, live it with indifference. Since we don't know about what happened during birth or what happens during death, we are indifferent to it. We don't start thinking about it. Oh, what happened? We don't cling to them. Similarly, this period, be indifferent to what is happening, but what comes, do it. Whatever comes in your life, do it. This is what he's saying. He's saying that take it with a measure of indifference. Do not give anything in life undue importance. Why are we sad? Why are we afflicted? Why are we aggrieved? Why we have hatred towards others? Because we like our life to be in a certain manner, certain way. We want it to be that way. But when it doesn't happen like that, say the wife doesn't behave in the manner in which you want your wife to behave, children do not behave in the manner in which you want the children to behave, then what happens? You are upset. Be indifferent. Be indifferent. It's not that you don't take the responsibility, but do not take everything with importance. Be light-hearted. Do not take everything to heart. So, undue importance. Do not give anything in life undue importance. This undue word is very, very, very important. Don't miss it. We are giving too much importance to everything that happens. Somebody has said something, too much importance given to it. You'll be keeping on thinking for 10 days. Or maybe the whole life. You will sever your relationship with relatives because something happened. Not in talking terms anymore. Why? Something had happened. Why does this happen? Because we give undue importance to petty matters. And what are those petty matters? Fleeting matters. Nothing will remain. And what we are considering importance, with passage of time, when we grow old, will anything matter? The body will die. Will anything matter then? Do not give anything in life undue importance by virtue of which you get agitated, perplexed and subdued. The events of life are not to subdue you. On the other hand, you have to assimilate them, outlive them, and get enriched by them. So beautiful. So beautiful. I think if you can seriously read this, seriously take it, life will become so smooth and beautiful. What it is? The events of life are not to subdue you. On the other hand, you have to assimilate them, outlive them, and get enriched by them. Every situation should make us feel enriched. You know, this sentence, I'm remembering when we had just come at the feet of Swamiji. Those days Swamiji used to type the letters. Those were not the age of computers and laptops. So Swamiji always used to type. When we came, he had a very small orange color typewriter. So I was very impressed seeing that, oh, even the typewriter is orange. Somebody must have offered it to him. So he used to type. After that, there was somebody else gave some electric typewriter, and it progressed like this, and then to computer. So he used to type. And Swamiji's nature is to reply all letters. And he writes very long, long letters also. So those days, we were very few people here. So whenever he would write something, with the joy of having expressed himself, he would call us. He would not see what is the time of the day, what is the important things we are doing, which are those things have to be done at that time, but he will say, come and sit, and I want to read the whatever I have written. So one day he was calling and saying that I have written a 9-page letter to somebody, 9 pages, and he wanted to read it out. It was a very beautiful letter. So the letter was so beautiful, I copied it down in my notebook. Because I thought that it's not written to me, but everybody's problems, because humans have the similar problems. So it is the narrowness of the mind, always. It will be the narrowness of the mind, non-expansiveness of the mind, possessiveness of the mind, or dislikes for somebody. That is, the mind is restless, peaceless. Mind is not calm. So anyway, some of the instructions were very good, so I wrote down. And there, I still remember, which affected me or impacted me most was, Swamiji was writing to that person that tell the whole world that I am not going to get subdued by you. Whatever you bring in front of me, I will only be enriched in its hand. You get it? Tell the whole world that I will not be subdued by you. Whatever situation you bring in front of me, I will be enriched by the situation. It's a similar thing that I am reading. And that gave so much of strength. My dear children, that is what I have been telling. What the Guru says, it has to be written in gold letters in the heart. Again and again, we must go over it over and over again. What is he saying? Such a good advice, such a strength of mind he has given in these 2 sentences, that I will not be subdued by any situation in life. Situations may be good, situations may be very favorable, situations may be very unfavorable, but I will not be subdued. I will not lament. I will not cry. I will not blame anybody. But I will try to face the situation to the best of my ability. It's not that I will lament and cry and not do anything. To face the situation and solve the situation. If I do that, what will happen? I'll be enriched. I grow to a higher dimension. Swamiji always used to tell, at least to me, he has told several times, whenever there has been any difficult situation, he has been saying, I want you to fall in this kind of difficult situation 1,000 times so that you can grow to higher and higher dimensions. That is, what is that dimension? Indifference. Indifference. When we get into any difficult situation which we don't like, either we are afraid or we are scared or we feel very blameful, we don't know, very undecided how to handle the situation, all kinds of emotions will play in us. But not paying any heed to them, if naturally we face the situation and see what happens, then we get enriched. We'll be able to face such situation another time. And if you're a serious seeker, you will find once you pass a situation, nature will make you face another difficult situation, more difficult situation. So that because the nature's way is to make you perfect, make you pure. So, do not give anything in life undue importance, by virtue of which you get agitated, perplexed and subdued. The events of life are not to subdue you. On the other hand, you have to assimilate them, outlive them, and get enriched by them. While living in this world, we may have to face any situation, and there is scope for the mind to produce practically every kind of response or reaction. How true. While living in this world, we may have to face any situation, and there is scope for the mind to produce practically every kind of response or reaction. The mind, which produces these reactions, also has the inherent capacity to live through and outlive them. The mind will bring about so many responses. It may be good, it may be sometimes of elation, sometimes of pride, sometimes of ego, sometimes of dislike, hatred, grumbling, many things, sorrows, tears, many things can happen. But all this is happening where? In the mind. And the mind also has the inherent capacity. This is who is saying? The Guru is saying. Don't say that it cannot be done. The Guru is saying, my dear children, these Prabhata Rashmis are the experiences of the Guru, of the seer, of the wise, of the realized master, which he is opening up to the seekers. He is saying that there is an inherent capacity of the mind to live through and outlive them. Unfortunately, there are people who do not want to outlive. They will hold on to their sorrows. They will, however much you tell them, do this, do that, simply don't give importance. They will say, no, it cannot be done, cannot be done. You don't understand, you don't understand. When the path is shown, the master is showing the torch, holding the hand, taking you through a dark path, saying that at the end of the path there is light. There are some unfortunate ones who hold on to their views. That is what? they are possessive. There comes the dispassion. Be indifferent. So, this is a lesson that people do not understand and also refuse to remember. Swamiji is making remarks. This is a lesson that people do not understand and also refuse to remember. What is the lesson? That the mind has inherent capacity to live through and outlive these emotions. If the mind creates an emotion or agitation, it can as well live through and outlive it. Then, what is there to be so much upset about? In all the spiritual Gospels, when they are properly understood, there is constantly a message of invincibility, that nobody can defeat me, the soul. I cannot be defeated, the soul. It is invincible. Our body may not be invincible against the factors outside, but our mind is, and much more so is the soul by its very nature. That is why in 2nd chapter, Krishna tells right in the beginning when he is saying that you are the soul, Arjuna, don't be aggrieved, you are the soul. There he says, Achedyoyam adahyoyam akledyo shoshya evacha nityaha sarvagatasthānuhu achaloyam sanatanaha. This is chapter 224, Bhagavad Gita. What is Swamiji saying here? That in all the spiritual Gospels, when they are properly understood, there is constantly a message of invincibility. Invincibility. Cannot be defeated, cannot be subdued. Our body may be invincible, but body may be invincible against the factors outside, but our mind is, and much more so is the soul by its very nature. It is invincible. So in these two slokas, see, Nainam chindanti shastrani, Nainam dahati pavakaha, Na chainam kledayantyapo, Na shoshayati marutaha. About the soul. Weapons do not pierce the indwelling soul. Nor does, that is, maybe somebody has talked very hurtingly. The mind and the soul will not be affected. If the mind takes rest, gets self-seated, the self is invincible. It will not be affected at all. And that unaffectedness is the characteristic of the soul. Unaffectedness is liberation. We can reach that state. Nor does fire burn it. Nainam dahati pavakaha. Neither water wets it, nor wind dries it. So, even if there is some piercing words or piercing behavior, in the soul level there is no affectation. In the soul level, fire means what? Some situation by which the body is getting burned. The soul will not. Water will not wet it, nor wind dries it. Next one, 24. Achedyoyamadakhyoyam akledyo shoshya evacha nityas sarvagatasthānuhu achaloyam sanatanaha. This soul cannot be cut. Achedyoyam. Achedyaha ayam. That soul cannot be cut. Cannot be cut. Adahyoyam cannot be burnt. Akledyo cannot be wetted. Ashoshya evacha cannot be dried. This is eternal, nityaha, sarvagataha, everywhere present, and sthanuhu, unshakable, achaloyam, unmoving, sanatanaha, ever prevailing. So, these qualities are of the soul. They are changeless, unshakable, etc. So, this is the case of the soul. The more you understand this is so, the more you will feel that you too are invincible. Now, we are constantly saying, I am not the body. Swamiji teaches so many shlokas. In the night satsang, these days he is taking sloka after sloka teaching. The visiting devotees, they are very happy to learn. But they come and go. Swamiji is tirelessly, relentlessly going on teaching. And what is he saying? Of all this, what is he saying? The potential of the mind, potential of the soul. And he is saying that you are the soul, you are not the body. And here he is emphasizing, the more you understand this is so, the more you will feel that you too are invincible. If the soul is invincible, then you, whose real nature is the soul, the changeless soul, and not the changeful body, you are also invincible. So where is the fear? How will you then be fearless? You have to think over this. It's not just reading, not just reading, and now that this is being read by me, sometimes I'm explaining a little bit more. It's not that alone. You have to remain in that knowledge that I am invincible. So just like, there is a sloka, Akashavallape viduragoham. In Vivekachudamani, I am like the Akasha, the sky. There is no taint, I am taintless. In Akasha, if you make a mark, whether it is with a red chalk or the blue chalk, or simply make a line, there is no mark. So Akasha is taintless. I am like the Akasha. Adityavat bhasya vilakshanoham. And I am like the sky, like the sun, who is ever effulgent, ever brilliant, ever luminous. I am. So there cannot be any darkness in my mind. So many times our mind becomes dark because of not getting what we wanted. The things we have planned not happening that way. Or some crisis is there in the family or in the job. Mind becomes dark. Very naturally. At that time, what we have to think? I am not like this. I am sun-like, where there is no darkness. Aharyavan nitya vinischaroham. And I am like that mountain which is vinischala. There is no movement in that mountain. We cannot push the mountain a little bit even. So, myself, my real nature is that I am like the mountain, and ambodhivat para vivarjitoham. Just like the ocean is boundaryless, limitless, similarly is my mind. I am not constricted. I will not be constricted. I will always be expansive. Expansive means what? All pervading. I will spread in everything, everywhere. I'll see the same soul in everybody. So this thought, you have to think it occasionally. And sometimes I think I'm talking the same things over and over again. What? That you may not have time. You are in the household or you are active. So there will be other things to do. But definitely we can keep on repeating this thought and feel it. It is just not repeating God, 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 God. Self, 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 self. It is not that. It is what? It is feeling it. I am invincible. I am invincible. I am invincible. When the mind becomes hurt by something, mind becomes fearful, then I am invincible because I am the soul. To feel it, that is the sadhana. So, by the very fact of your being, this invincibility is there in you. If you don't understand it, you are a fool, ignorant, deluded. So Swami is telling all the seekers that if you don't understand this, you are a fool, ignorant, deluded. So there is no message of spirituality which makes a man timid or makes him feel subdued. Let the family desert you. Let the whole world turn against you. Let poverty, death, and disease assail you. As the adversities come, they will also subside, as there is a calm after each storm. The sequence of events in life will not be as you want them to be. It is designed by nature with a view to enrich and sublimate you. What a beautiful paragraph. So, there is no message of spirituality which makes a man timid or makes him feel subdued. The messages of spirituality, the messages of the seers, the messages of the sacred texts, they will not say anything by which you can become subdued or timid. They will constantly give you Vairagya. That is, you feel strengthened, feel enriched, enlightened, as if you can face everything in this life. That is the message of all our spirituality. Then he says, let the family desert you, let the whole world turn against you, let poverty, death, and disease assail you. As the adversities come, they will also subside, as there is a calm after each storm. After each storm, see, when there is a storm, cyclone, typhoon, so many things happen, hurricanes, but it subsides, no? There will be a lot of losses of life, losses of property. So many things will happen. Very pathetic scenes. Very, very difficult to take those situations. But there will be a calm. The storm will pass off. In Bhagavatam it says, just like we do not want dukkha, we do not invite dukkha at all. Nobody wants. Still it comes. Similarly, you don't have to look for sukha. Sukha also will come by itself. Dukkha will go and the sukha will come. So, when there is all adversities, after some time adversities will go and calm will set in. You know, Raja Janaka, he was very enlightened. In his palace, he was engaged in some spiritual discussion with somebody. At that time, the messenger came and said that the palace is on fire. He was a realized person. So what did he say? Mithilayam pradiptayam name dahyati kinchana. The messenger was trying to impress upon him that the palace is on fire, the fire is coming forward, please run. But he was so engrossed in this spiritual discussion, he was absolutely indifferent. And then when he understood, he said, Mithilayam pradiptayam name dahyati kinchana. He said that if the whole of Mithila burns down, I don't get burned. Krishna is saying, no? Adahyoyam. What will get burned? The body. Suppose he is not able to run, the body will get burned. He says that the whole of Mithila, even if it gets burned, the I in me, which is always there, will not be burned. So, calm will set in after each storm. The sequence of events in life will not be as you want them to be. When the good period is there, we want to hold on. Even the same for each of us, whatever is the situation, if it is good, we want to hold on to it. We feel that this will be the situation, this will go on. It's not. Changes will come. Maybe we'll have to change a place. Maybe we'll have to change. Maybe diseases will come. Maybe some poverty will set in. Maybe the daughter whom you want to get married will not get married. Or a married daughter will divorce. So things will never remain the same. So, sequence of events in life will not be as you want them to be. It is designed by nature with a view to enrich and sublimate you. My dear children, all the things that happen in our life, if we can simply think that all this, the Creator is presenting before me so that I get enriched and sublimated in the hands of this situation, then the whole life will become sweet and sweeter, enlightened, enriched. We do not think like that. We blame the situation if it is not up to our wishes and expectations. That is why we suffer. Okay, time is up. I'll stop now. Sampurnam jagadev nandanavanam sarvepi kalpadrumaah gangam vari samastavari nivaha punyas samastah kriyah vacha prakrita samskrita shruti shiro Varanasi medini sarvavasthitirasya vastu vishaya drishti parabrahmani sarvavasthitirasya vastu vishaya drishti parabrahmani. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru.